Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. You are watching our Cloud School. Today in this video, we are going to talk about manage identity with CosmosDB and Logic App. How do we use the secretless authentications from Logic App to the CosmosDB to read and write or query the data or the documents from the CosmosDB into your Logic App workflow? So for that, let's first of all understand the Azure resources, what we have got for the demonstration. So first of all, I have got this CosmosDB instance which we have created in our Azure portal. And if I query this CosmosDB instance, you will find that I have in total there are 6 records which are created under this particular database. The database name is GitHub collection. Just pardon me for the spelling of collection, but under this particular database we have got container. The name of the container is record, and in this record container, if I expand the item, these are the 6 items we have, and same items we are querying like this. Let's say I would like to query the same set of record from the Logic App so that I can fetch the same information from my Logic App and perform the operation further. Now to perform the operation, I don't want to use the access keys like the keys which you can find it here. Of course, you can use these keys to communicate to this Cosmos account from any of the resource, but that is something we do not want, as our topic of the discussion is to talk about the or use the managed identity. So we'll be using the managed identity concept to communicate between the CosmosDB and the Logic App. Now on the other hand, what I have this Logic App instance created which is of type consumption type, right? I'm not using a standard, but you can also use the standard. The concept will work both consumption as well as the standard. The only thing you need for this is the identity. You need to have it. So in my Logic App, I have set up the system manage identity. As you can see, this is my manage identity ID. Now this manage identity now needs permission on the CosmosDB. Now to assign the permission, usually which is of type manage identity kind of permission on any resource, usually what you do is you assign appropriate role or you create a role. And let's say if you would like to create a role manually, you go to the identity and access control, and from here you click on the role assignment and you find your job specific role or the action specific role which you would like to perform on to this particular resource, in this case CosmosDB. You choose the role, you choose the manage identity. Let's say for example this is the role I'm looking for, so and then I'm going to choose the role manage identity, and then you set up the role, and that is it. After that the secretless communication will be set up. But in the case of CosmosDB, the role which we are looking for to perform the query operation or insert or create document or query the document operation, those kind of a role as of today, October 23, those roles are not available as a built-in role here, at least in this particular selection. So manually at least I cannot use any of these roles to perform or query or insert a new document into the CosmosDB database collection. Even though if I use the contributor access, it will not be able to do the job, right? I'm not talking about the owner, I'm talking about the kind of contributor, because owner is something you don't want to give to the CosmosDB or to any resource as such. So which role we should be using, or if it is the case, if the role is not available, then what we should do? Well, if the role is not available here in this list, in the selection, which means that you cannot use the manual way to set up the manage identity onto the CosmosDB from any resource, whether it is Logic App, Azure Data Factory, any application, function app, anything, right? So what do you do? Simply do not use the manual option. Now, what is the other option? You can use the automated way, which is the running the Azure CLI or making use of the Azure CLI. Now, before you make use of Azure CLI, you need to know what kind of a role I'm looking for. Now, to get the information about that, the Microsoft documentation has provided, Microsoft Doc has provided very detailed information about the configure the role-based access onto the CosmosDB account, And this is what the kind of role we are looking for. Reader item, read item, write item, execute query. These are the majority of time. These are the three type of operation we are looking for. Now to perform these three type of operation, we can use these actions, right? So if I go here, this is what the action I'm looking for. So the action which I'm looking for is read, right? And then it could be execute query, change feed, execute store procedure, right? This is for read. But if let's say if you're trying to create a document, it's going to be create, upsert, or if you're trying to delete, then this is going to be. So the combination of any of these role or action which you will be looking for. Now, how do I perform or set this operation as a role? Now, obviously, the one option you have is you can create or combine these option or action type into a custom role, and you can create a custom role, right? Which can be performed with the help of Azure PowerShell and Azure CLI as well. So this is the PowerShell option which is given. So this is the way we can configure the custom role. This is the second way, which is using the Azure CLI. It's performing the same operation. Here you see. Now this is about the custom role. What about the built-in role? So they have also mentioned about the built-in role. The role names are given here, which is these two roles. First role is this one. Second role is your data Cosmos database built-in data contributor, and data contributor has got again same thing, star, and then this star. Whereas here in this case, it's going to be read, and read. But these roles we have not found there. So how do we find these roles? So we can find these roles with the help of with the help of Azure CLI. So that is what I'm going to show you. You can run the CLI on your local machine as well, provided you are logged into your Azure subscription where you have the CosmosDB created. But I'm going to use this Cloud Shell option to run the command. The command which we are going to run is, before actually I run the command, I'm going to set a couple of variables. So I'm going to set the variable as an account name or the CosmosDB account name on which I would like to perform the role, and then this resource group name. And then the command which will be running is the CosmosDB SQL role list definition. That will list the definition, which is list of role which are available. So let me just expand this and make it bigger. This is what the result we are getting it here, right? Now if you look at the result here, we have got the first role, which is this one, right? And the second role, which is this one. And now if you look at the role name, the first role, the second role name is CosmosDB built-in contributor, exactly the same thing what is given in the documentation, and second role is CosmosDB built-in data reader, and the ID of this role is this one, right? So it has got the ID 1, which is the reader role, and the writer role or create or insert, update, delete operation, it has got the ID 2. So now any of these role we can assign permission, or we can use this role with the help of PowerShell or Azure CLI, but these roles are not visible at the moment from your Azure portal manual option for the selection. So which command we are going to run? Let me just clean this up first of all, and then I'm going to use the command which is, I'm simply going to paste the command name as it CosmosDB SQL role assignment create account name, resource group name, and then P is for the identity or the principal identity which we are looking for, and then you have scope, which / means everything on the scope, and then the role definition, which means here I'm using the role definition as the second role. So I'm going to use make sure that I'm going to use the correct service principal ID or correct manage identity, and for that I will go to the logic app, I will copy this manage identity ID, and here I will paste the manage identity ID. Make sure that the role which we are looking for is this role, which is having the ID either 2 or 1. 2 means, remember, 2 means it is create or insert operation, or read or write operation both, whereas 1 means it will just have the read operation, right? let me just click on enter, and that will create a role, assign a role onto this logic app manager identity to this Cosmos DB. The role is successfully created. With that, our logic app should be able to communicate to the Cosmos DB. Now to prove the point, what I'm going to do now, I'll be moving to the designer, and from the designer I'm going to add a new step, add new action. I'm going to search for Cosmos DB. This is the action type I'm going to select, and as we are looking for query the data, I'm going to use this action, which is query document version 5, and authentication type, which we have it, which is a connection name. We need to provide the connection name as, and first of all we need to create a API connection. So I'll say that Cosmos API connection. Okay, the access authentication type, I'm not going to use any access key, so we'll be using the logic app manage identity. Let's create that. So that is going to create the access key, which you can find it here under the API connection, which is, now with that my API connection has been created, which is getting used here. If you look at next, it's going to fetch the data of the Cosmos DB. So you need to have the name of your Cosmos DB account. So I'm going to just minimize this, copy the name of the Cosmos DB. I'll just simply enter custom name. I'll put the name of my Cosmos DB, use this option, so that will automatically fetch the database. So this is the database I'll be using, and from this database it will automatically fetch the record which is available, or the container which is available in this. Now here you can write any of your query if you want to. So let's say if you would like to create a sample query, you can write the sample query here. If you do not write a query, it will run the select star from C, which is from the current container. With this container it will display all the record. So I'm going to write this sample query. So the query is select value, and then I'm generating this particular data, which is CID, user data and all, and that will basically fetch these record. Let me just save this, and after that we will trigger our HTTP type of logic app from this pay with run with workload option. So let's run this. As it is the get operations, we do not have to provide any body for that. So I'm going to just click on run, and hopefully it should connect to the data and should validate and return the data as it is expected. So let's look at the data here. As a result, this is the query which we have run, and this is what the output we have received. So this is the output of the Cosmos DB query. It has got exactly the same 6 record. Now if I run the same query, we will get the same result over there as well. The output is not been returned to outside the get operation. The reason for that is because I have not mentioned as in return type here. If I just simply update the value as in the output and save it, then the output should be displayed as in the HTTP trigger. Let me just run the payload again. I'll click on the get operation run button again, and this time you see that we have got the data as in result with all the collection which we are looking for. And that is how you can make use of manage identity with your Cosmos DB and the logic app. Now just to verify the communication, we can go to the API connection, and this is where the API connection has been created. You can go to the document DB, and if you go to the edit API connection, you would find that the API connection is the document type, and authentication type is not been selected here right now, but the authentication option is given here, which is a manage identity option. I hope you have found this useful. If it is, please give it a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching it. See you in the next video.